So many of the conflicts that we have, so many of the conflicts that we endure within ourselves, that stress and that tension that we sometimes have when we feel conflicted inside. So many of those conflicts, as well as the conflicts in our homes and our families, in our community, in our world. So many of these conflicts are rooted in the same unfortunate thing. And it's that as a people, even as a people of God, we have stopped searching for truth. We've stopped seeking and learning and growing and discovering and trying to ponder and understand the deeper, richer meaning of life. As a population, we have become less interested in being educated and more interested in being validated. So we begin with our own opinions, and then we seek out the news programs and stations, and we read the articles and the books that simply affirm what we already want to think and believe. So as a result, we have a culture where everyone just kind of shouts at each other. No one listens to one another. So no one's learning. No one's growing. And the truth pilgrim walks a very lonely road. I think there are two reasons for this. One, because many of us have stopped believing there is a truth. We've given up. We just think that, there's just different opinions, perceptions. We call that relativism. And another bunch of us think we have the truth. We've stopped looking because we think we already have it. We call that absolutism. But truth is a majestic mountain. It's tall and stoic, rock hard, timeless, unchanging. And like any really gorgeous, beautiful mountain, it has many, many different faces, each revealing a different dimension, each reflecting a new light. And the truth pilgrim spends life studying that mountain, walking its perimeter, looking at all of the faces, hiking its paths, drinking from its streams, and climbing to its summit. This is how Moses really got to know God. He climbed the mountain. He didn't just sit back and look at the mountain from a distance and go, okay. No. He climbed it himself. Went about that hard, arduous work of climbing and journeying and learning and discovering. And when we do, we discover a truth that is rock solid, a truth we can build our house on, and that house will stand. The relativists in our culture stand and look at one side of the mountain and say, you know what, I see this face, you see that face, my truth is different from your truth, truth is fluid, it's not really anything other than your perspective. Relativism is very dangerous. It leads to moral anarchy and ethical decay. We can find a way to morally justify anything we want, from promiscuity to spousal abuse. if we only find the right angle. And how often do we do that, honestly? How often do we just sort of find the right angle on the right face to morally justify our own thoughts, beliefs, and actions? Absolutists, on the other hand, they stand confident and comfortable and secure on their own perch, look at one face of the mountain that they see the light shining upon, and believe they have the truth, and anyone who sees this differently than them is wrong. Galileo was persecuted by absolutists. The 9/11 terrorists were absolutists. Absolutism is dangerous because it leads to conflict, violence, and war. In our scriptures, the Pharisees and the Sanhedrin were absolutists. They said, we have our law, we have our truth, and our law says he must die. By contrast, Pontius Pilate was a relativist. He said, truth. What truth? We need to remember that the absolutists and the relativists conspired to kill truth. This is a book by the very eminent Catholic theologian and biblical scholar, Father Raymond Brown. He was an amazing scholar who really spent his life looking at the mountain of truth in all of its beauty, in all of its dimensions. Pope Benedict once said that he would be very happy indeed if the church had more scholars like Father Brown. And yet, there were absolutists among the cardinals who criticized him for looking at too many different sides of things. They sought to have him censored and have his books banned from Catholic universities. At the same time, there were other Catholic theologians who were more relativists, who criticized him for being too hard and fast on some things. So what do we do? What do we do as truth pilgrims when even the scholars and theologians don't entirely agree? We seek the third path, the better path, wisdom. We seek the path of wisdom, which explores the entire circumference of the mountain of truth, spends its life hiking its trails, drinking the water from its streams, and climbing to its summit. We seek wisdom. Now, if we're going to do this, if we're going to spend our lives studying and exploring this mountain of truth, it helps to have a guidebook. Many have journeyed before us. Many have traveled and documented and thought and pondered. For 2,000 years, truth pilgrims have explored. And the Catholic Church gives us the guidebook they've developed in the Catechism. This copy is the U.S. Catholic Catechism for Adults. And it's good to have so that we don't find ourselves going off course, getting lost, walking in circles. To find our way, sort of stay anchored on that mountain of truth. But you know what? You can't just read the guidebook and think you know truth. You can't read any guidebook and think you know the mountain. You have to take it with you, but you have to do the hard work yourself. We have to pick ourselves up, and we have to learn and study and grow and open ourselves to all of the wonders of that mountain. John the Baptist is a wonderful role model, I think, as a truth pilgrim. Here was a guy, right, who was a sage and a prophet. People came from far and wide to hear what John the Baptist had to say, to be baptized in his water and listen to his word. And yet, he was the first to say, whoa, I don't have the truth. That's coming yet after me. We have a saying where I work that the first sign of intelligence is the assumption of ignorance. John the Baptist was an intelligent man. That I don't know everything. He surprised a lot of people by saying, I don't have the truth. I'm a truth pilgrim. I'm trying to figure it out and learn it and discover it and grow it. But when the guy comes who is the truth, I'm not even fit to tie his sandals. Compared to him, I'm a lightweight. We need to seek. We need to study. We need to learn. We need to read. We need to enter into open dialogue and conversation and listen to one another. We need to do it with an open heart. If we seek, we will find, but we have to seek. The absolutists and the relativists have taken over the public dialogue in almost all fronts. But absolutism and relativism are the dispositions of the arrogant and the ambivalent. Those who think they know everything and those who stop caring. As disciples, we are called to be humble and committed. So let us commit ourselves to being truth pilgrims on the mountain of truth, to spend our lives learning and growing and digging, not just seeking simple knowledge, but rather deep, profound understanding. Let us be truth pilgrims, and let us do it with minds that are committed, souls that are humble, and hearts that are compassionate.